Welcome to Eritech. Russian President Vladimir Putin has dramatically announced war on the Russian world, marking a new chapter in the ongoing conflict with Ukraine. This stark declaration was made during a state council meeting focused on supporting Russian families, signaling a profound shift in Russia's geopolitical stance. For Putin, the battle is no longer just about territorial integrity, but about defending the very essence of Russian identity. As the conflict deepens, the world watches in shock, uncertain about the future consequences of this bold move. The tipping point for Putin's declaration was a Ukrainian missile strike on the Russian border town of RSK. The attack resulted in at least 5 civilian deaths and numerous injuries, exacerbating an already volatile situation. Putin quickly seized on this tragedy to justify his broader military ambitions, portraying the incident as an example of Western-led aggression against the Russian people. This missile strike becomes a key part of his narrative that Ukraine, with Western support, is waging war on Russia. In the wake of the Ukrainian missile strike, Russia has continued its military campaign with aggressive territorial gains. According to Russian military officials, Russia has seized nearly 4,500 square kilometers of Ukrainian land in 2024 alone. The advances, averaging around 30 square kilometers per day, have been concentrated in the Donbass region. This rapid progress highlights Russia's focus on consolidating its control over these vital areas. Putin's declaration is more than just a military statement, it is deeply ideological. Central to his vision is the concept of the Russian world, or Ruski Mir. This idea transcends the borders of Russia itself, including Russian-speaking populations in neighboring countries such as Ukraine, Belarus, and Kazakhstan. Putin views these regions not as separate nations, but as interconnected parts of a greater Russian sphere of influence. His rhetoric paints a picture of a shared cultural, religious, and historical identity, unified by Orthodox Christianity and Russian heritage. Putin is positioning Russia as not only a defender of its own people, but as a global force challenging the hegemony of the West. His rhetoric consistently frames the conflict in Ukraine as part of a larger battle for a fairer world order. In this worldview, Russia is the protector of Orthodox Christian values, countering the Western liberal agenda. Putin's vision extends beyond Ukraine, positioning Russia as a powerful force against Western influence on the global stage. The concept of the Russian world is not limited to ethnic Russians within Russia's borders. Putin has consistently argued that Russian-speaking populations in former Soviet republics, such as Ukraine, Belarus, and Kazakhstan, should be seen as integral to the Russian world. These regions, he claims, have shared cultural and linguistic ties with Russia that go beyond political boundaries. In his rhetoric, they are often portrayed as oppressed by Western-backed governments that undermine their connection to Russia. Russia's military strategy is increasingly focused on cutting-edge technologies, including AI-powered systems and advanced missile technology. The recent unveiling of Russia's new Orosnik hypersonic missile has captured global attention. These technological innovations are seen as crucial to Russia's strategy of asserting dominance, not just in territorial terms, but in the realm of modern warfare. With the capacity to strike targets at hypersonic speeds, the Orosnik missile could shift the balance of military power in Russia's favor. In a provocative move, Putin has challenged the United States to a missile duel, proposing a test of strength between Russia's Orosnik hypersonic missile and U.S. missile defense systems. This challenge serves as a demonstration of Russia's growing confidence in its military technologies and its willingness to directly confront the West. The missile duel proposal is not only a military challenge, but a strategic provocation designed to test the limits of U.S. military power. The international response to Putin's declarations has been one of growing concern. Western nations, particularly the United States and European Union, have ramped up sanctions against Russia, while NATO has bolstered its defenses in Eastern Europe. The potential for direct confrontation is increasing, and many fear that the conflict could spiral into a larger, more destructive war. As tensions mount, international diplomats are scrambling to find a way to de-escalate the situation before it's too late. Perhaps the most chilling aspect of Putin's rhetoric is his willingness to escalate the conflict to the nuclear level. By positioning Russia as a nuclear power ready to challenge the West, Putin is playing a dangerous game. The possibility of a nuclear confrontation, however unlikely, is a real and terrifying threat. With tensions running high, the specter of nuclear war looms over any future interactions between Russia and the West. As the conflict intensifies, the human cost grows. The war has led to a mounting humanitarian crisis, with millions displaced and countless civilians killed or injured. Both Ukrainian and Russian civilians are caught in the crossfire of this increasingly brutal conflict. International humanitarian organizations have warned of the dire consequences for civilians, urging both sides to prioritize peace and diplomacy over further violence. Looking ahead to 2024, Putin sees this as a pivotal year in his campaign. He has promised that Russia will not back down from its mission to protect the Russian world and maintain its geopolitical interests. The declaration of war on the Russian world is just the beginning. Putin views 2024 as a decisive year in which Russia will continue its territorial expansion while solidifying its position as a global power. Putin's declaration of war on the Russian world marks a critical turning point in the ongoing conflict with Ukraine. The stakes have never been higher, with global security hanging in the balance. As Russia continues to assert its military and ideological dominance, the world faces the growing risk of a larger war. Whether this conflict will remain confined to Ukraine or spiral into a global confrontation is yet to be seen. What is certain, however, is that the coming months will define the future of global geopolitics.